You got the
Yeah.
jersey on. I'm gonna see you wear the jersey in a minute.
Mm.
You're feeling
Yeah, man.
nice. You're
Talk
feeling
to us.
nice. But yeah, let's talk.
Well, you know what? Let's as you said, Adam, it's a time for reflection.
Hmm.
The international break. I look at the table. We are There's only 4 points between Arsenal and Man United.
Oh, don't do that, man.
There's only 4 points between Man United and Chelsea. There is still a long way of the season to go. And look, my expectation is for this. We spoke about it last time, Afo. My expectation is for United to be finishing in the top six, right?
Hmm?
Not the top four, because the teams there are too strong. You have Liverpool too strong, City too strong, Arsenal too strong. There is to be fair, there is that gap with Chelsea that I think they might drop off a little bit, and we could potentially chase them down. But my expectations after the seasons that we've been having is for us to be top six. Now, with our new manager coming in, Ruben, I'm going to say a few things, and I need you guys to listen. Okay.
Yeah.
When we sacked Eric Ten Hag, one of the biggest issues that we had with him, outside of his performances, his team's performances, was the way he interacted with the media, the way he was unable to convey himself. In the space of a week that Ruben's been at the club, the conversations that he's having with the media. No, I'm aware that this is very early days conversations. Everything's feel good right now, but the way he's communicating with the media is very, very positive. Right? It's very positive. That's just one thing. We look at his style of play. His team, unlike Eric Ten Hag's Ajax team, who were an okay performers in the Champions League, we have Ruben, who they're second right now, Sporting, who are second in the Champions League standing. His style of play is very clear, right? We understand what he wants to implement. And then I look at the players that we have at the club. I'm not like these stupid pundits that every single time something goes wrong at United, they blame the players. I actually think this crop of Man United players are decent enough to be a top six, top five, potentially creep into a top four position if Chelsea falls off. And I just see the way that he wants to play. I see the players that we have. And I'm going to be positive, boys. I think there is something that we'll be able to get out of this season, this post this international break, that is going to be quite positive for United. I look at players like Hoyland, who I'm still very high on. I look at players like De who is a player that's come from a very good club, who's has that pedigree. I think he has the pedigree to be a United player. Martinez. The only thing that worries me is injuries to some key players like Martinez, Shaw, and I'm very hot and cold about Rashford right now. Huh?
All these guys you named, they're not it, bro.
You don't rate Luke Shaw?
Luke Shaw's a liability, bro. Let's be real.
Do you rate Martinez?
Depends on what system you play.
Well,
if you're playing 4-4-2, or if you're playing,
Pep,
I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Menu, Hoyland, as I said, De Ligt. I think our keeper is going to do well in this system as well. So, look, all I'm saying, boys, is that I'm positive in the way that I'm looking forward. Don't look at these players, and they're probably the best crop of players we've had at United for 5, 6, 7 years, right? So I'm positive. As I said, I'm not expecting us to get into the top four. I'm expecting us to be in the fifth or sixth position in the league, and that would be progress. And we're gonna have to give them time. So, boys, let me know what you think.
Okay. Let me say something. Yeah. A lot of these players you mentioned, bro. Okay, Luke Shaw, yeah. There was a time where Luke Shaw was like this flying fullback, like, I think pre-leg break, and there was a period maybe for 2 seasons after the leg break. I wouldn't say recent, but there was a period where Luke Shaw was a somewhat reliable player. But I think those things that Jose Mourinho said about Luke Shaw, some of those things are true. Some of those things are true. I genuinely think Luke Shaw you need to get rid of. He's become a crux in your wage bill. He's become a crux to your squad building. I don't think Luke Shaw's the type of player you want to be keeping around too long. I feel like every time you bring in a left back to challenge him, he raises his form for a bit and then brings it back down again. Once he knows someone's local, like Alex Telles, that was the time he brought in Alex Telles and he brought his form up. Then 2 or 3 months down the line, bad habits start to creep in again. You brought in Tyler Malacia, his form increased again. 2 or 3 months down the line, it started to go back down again. And plus, on top of that, he's injury prone. You can't rely on it. Martinez is one of those players.
Quick question.
Okay, go.
Isn't that the responsibility of the manager to bring that out of him? So if he sees the performance drop, take him out, bring the other guy in. Because you're saying that he has the ability. You're saying
he had it.
Well, he should. Well, you said that every time he brings it, every time someone comes in to challenge his spot, he shows it. So for me, that's the responsibility of the manager to bring that out of him day in, day out.
But you have to help yourself, though. I feel it gets to a point. Luke Shaw's 30 now. Is he not 30 years old? Like, at some point, you need to move on from 29. Okay, he's almost 30, and he's been injured for a lot of his career. Those injuries, they're not. You don't become all of a sudden a non-injury prone player after being an injury prone for most of your 20s. You hit your 30s, those injuries become worse. It takes long for you to come back from injury. I think you should start pouring more into guys like Diogo Dalot. I think you should start pouring more into guys like. I think Onana is still a good keeper in the right system. I feel like Mainu is a player that needs help in midfield. I think sometimes it feels like he's doing a solo mission in midfield. I don't think someone of his ability should be left with Casemiro to play with, because Casemiro sometimes gives the ball away too many times and leaves that young poor boy chasing around after the ball. Mainu's not athletic like that. He needs to be in a team where the team's going to keep the ball and you're going to create patterns of play. You're going to have a little bit more of possession of the ball rather than being a counter-attacking team. I think Martinez in a 4-4-2 is not the centre-back that you want. I think in a back three, which Ruben Amorim might play, would be good in a left centre-back position. I honestly think that. I think Afo, remember when we were linked with Martinez? We initially wanted Martinez instead of Zini, but we wanted to play him left-back, not centre-back. I think if you play him wide in a role where in the wide of the defence, maybe in a 3 or in a 4 at left back or left centre back, I think you can get maximum value out of a player like that because he's really good on the ball. I think he's one of the best ball playing centre backs in the league. I just think he's too over aggressive. I also think I like Højlund because I liked him at Atalanta, and I think he was a good player there. I think he's come to United and has been tasked with being the main number 9. Someone who's 19, I think that's a tall order. I think he needed someone more senior. I still think that he's a coaching job. I think he's someone who you need to pour time into. I think United have a handful of players: Diogo Dalot, Martinez, Mainu, Højlund. Most of the players you mentioned there, yes, those are good players. But guys like, I like his ambition. I like his mentality. I like his ambition. I still think like United should not be starting him every week. I think he's someone who should be coming off the bench. I think there are players you've given too much responsibility to at a young age, and it's starting to show. I feel like he's the sort of player who needs to be your third winger, your third choice winger. For where you want to be, he shouldn't be starting every week. The only reason why he is because Rashford's washed. That's the only reason.
Right wing, and then he's the next option.
Yes, he should be your next option. He should be the guy who comes off the bench because you know he can produce something. But I think he's still a bit raw. He's not strong enough. I think he needs to get under a barbell, start doing some squats, start doing some plyometrics. I don't think he has that fast twitch ability to be a man. I don't think he holds the ball up well enough. I think he makes the wrong decisions sometimes, but his ambition is good. I like his mentality. He believes in himself. That's why he's always scoring goals. I think Rashford could learn from someone like Garnacho in terms of his attitude.
The mentality.
I think Rashford's ability is there. You can't question Rashford's ability, but right now it's like is there something wrong? It's like, I don't know, like, is he okay? I don't know. Like, people always ask.
He's just going through the motions.
Going through the motions, man. Just going through the motions. I don't like seeing that to a young brother, man. I used to like Rashford, you know. I used to like Rashford as a player, man. Even though he dunked on Arsenal a few times, like Rashford's ability. Like even last season, I think I was calling for him to be in the England squad because was it last season or season before?
Season before.
Maybe season before. Yeah, season before. And he didn't make it. And I was thinking England could have done with a player like that. What do you think, Afro, man? With United
I think someone like Rashford, he has that game changer ability, but definitely there's an issue mentally there. I don't think he can change, bro. I think this is how he's going to be for the rest of his career. I think I won't be surprised if this.
You think he's going to be in this current terrible form for the rest of his career, or you think it's going to be hot and cold?
It might be.
It could be like this. I can't see him all of a sudden turning it and then being consistent for 3 years and being a reliable player. So I think you probably go through the season. We'll see how he does. but let's say he keeps the same form, I wouldn't be surprised if the manager is like, do you know what? Let's move him on at the end of the season. I will not be surprised if they consider it because they're paying him a lot of money. He's not really performing. If he doesn't perform for the rest of the season, why not sell him for 60, 70 M's and bring in someone for the same amount of money that might be more reliable?
They ain't getting that.
Who's buying him for 60, 70 mil? No one's.
You don't think,
ain't getting that.
Bro, if Chelsea can get 60 M's for Havertz, I think someone would pay 60 million for Rashford.
I feel like because when you guys bought Havertz, I think you guys saw untapped potential that he hasn't. I feel like people have seen Rashford's top end, and the fact that he's not been there for 2 seasons is really worrying. That's why, remember when he was linked to PSG? PSG aren't interested in him anymore.
No, they don't want him no more, man.
No, the Real Madrid, they don't want him anymore. But all I'm going to say to your point, boys, is that I agree that there are. Well, I don't know if I do agree. I think there are more talented players in that team for Ruben to get a lot out of.
Let me ask you something.
I think hold on. It's these Arsenal fans, they love it too much. The players like the ones in particular that we brought in this year, I think have a lot of ability. I think players like Euro, players like Zerski, Ugarte, these are players that we have not seen anywhere close to what the coach can get out of them. And then when you sprinkle some experience around them, like Casemiro, Ericsson, Diallo's not experienced, but he's one of those young players that I think Diallo has a bright future in the Premier League. He has a very bright future. I do think there is something that I do think there's talent in that club.
Sorry, I want to ask you something. Yeah, I forgot about Diallo. Actually, I really like him. He's a talented player. He's someone who should be starting for you. I think he's a Man United quality player.
Bro, how can you say Diallo should start, but Garnacho shouldn't?
I think Diallo's better than
Diallo's a better footballer.
But he's not as matured in the.
I think he is. I think he's way more polished. I think the way he plays football is he retains the ball well. He's got a very cultured left foot. He doesn't rush to make decisions. He's shown if you put him in front of goal, he's capable of finishing. I still think he needs to work on his finish a little bit more. That's where Garnacho's a little bit better than him, man. Like getting into those goal scoring positions. But I feel like he's the sort of player that can add balance to United's team. Physically, still some ways to go, but he's not getting bullied like that. I still feel like he's the type of player that I think he needs to be on the same wavelength as players. I think his quality is better than a lot of the quality that is surrounding him. I think the moment he's in a system where you keep the ball better, I think Diallo is going to be a mainstay in the United team, barring no injuries, of course, and you know.
And I do think the club has done him a disservice from his time at the club because he shouldn't have been on loan as much as he has been. I think he should have been getting some more time, more game time, so that he is because he's 2 years older than Garnacho. But for some reason, Garnacho has way more Premier League exposure than him.
I'm pretty certain Diallo had quite a few. He's had a few injuries since coming to United.
But yeah, he has. But also, when he has been fit, he hasn't been given opportunities like Garnacho has.
Maybe what do you want? So maybe again, I think Garnacho seems to have that. I'm not saying Diallo doesn't have that, but Garnacho seems to show that he has that dog in him a bit, and again, a bit of a ruthlessness about him. And I think that's where maybe Garnacho has the advantage over Diallo, that he seems to take his chances more than Diallo does. Diallo maybe in terms of the whole game puts on a better performance as a whole package, but in terms of impact in the game, Garnacho seems to regularly have an impact on the game.
He's ambitious. He's got a good mentality. He's ambitious. You can tell Ronaldo's had a good influence on him in his early part of his United career when Ronaldo was there. I think Ronaldo is his goal.
That listened to him. He was one of the players that listened to him.
Yeah, and I think that's what's helping him stay in the United team, despite some of the flaws United fans think he has, and I think he has. But I can admit when I look at him, he's a player that can contribute something to United consistently. But I want to ask you something, Jeremy, yeah? What do you want to see from Ruben Amorim in the first package of you look at it as first 10 games, right? What do you want to see from Ruben Amorim? Do you want to see him get rid of particular players from the squad? Do you want to see him stamp his authority? Do you want to see him come in and play a discernible style of play? Do you want to see him play his system? Because my opinion is when a new manager comes in, straight away, you want to see him put his imprint into the club straight away. You want to see, you don't want to wait until summer and be like, okay, now I want to start put in my imprint, because then you've wasted an entire season. He's
Yeah.
still got the entire season to show what he can do at United. What do you want to see?
That's a great question. I'm actually going to steal a line from the interview that he did. I want to see in his first five games, I want to see the idea. I want to see the idea of how they're going to play, which means they're not going to. Which means they're not going to be perfect. Which means they're not going to be. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have 5 wins on the bounce. But I want to see the idea of how they play. I want to see the ambition. I want to see the mentality. That's what I want to see. Then when it comes to transfer windows, I only want to see 3 or 4 players leave this club, right? That those players are Johnny Evans, Harry Maguire. To be fair, we can't lose 2 of these 3 because we just need backups in those positions. But Harry, Lindelof, and Johnny Evans, I would quite like to see those guys disappear. Potentially a Marcus Rashford as well, right? Those are the players I want to see gone from the club. And then I want to see him play these young, up and coming footballers in an exciting manner. I want to see Man United become solid at the back with this obviously 5, or I don't know if it's 3-4-3 or if it's 5-3-3. I just want to see solidity at the back. And bro, one of the most important things is that I need to see him make Old Trafford a difficult place to play. I need, if City are gonna come and win there, it has to be raw. These men gave us a hard fight, not like these times that we've been getting washed by Liverpool and City, etc. So that's essentially it for me. By the end of the season, we should be starting to purr.
Jez.
But I'm not going to rush. I'm going to give him time. But I'm not going to give him as much. If his performances are like, actually, no, I'm not even going to go there. I'm
Yeah, it's too early.
today,
Too
I'm
early.
like,
I've got a question. So I'm looking at your matches now. So
Yeah.
next game is against Ipswich. Then you're playing Europa League against Bordeaux, and then you're playing Everton, then Arsenal. So if he goes through a run of not getting any wins between now and Arsenal, how do you think that impacts him, especially early doors?
It won't happen because of those teams that you just said. But you're saying if.
I think Ipswich. I don't think Ipswich are bad. I think that could be a tough game.
No, bro. I don't think Ipswich are bad, but they're ranked 17th in the table.
United should be beating them.
We should be beating them, right?
They should be beating them.
And then who were the other teams you mentioned, Afo? Look, let's be honest. The only team that we don't have the right to beat is Arsenal in that list that you just right. But if we're 4 from 5, if we're 3 from 5, I'm okay with that. If it's 3 draw and that, I'm okay with that. Look, if he was to lose all those first 5 games, there would be an issue. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Losing all first 5, that would be worrying. That'd be pretty bad.
I think like you said, you need to see discernible style of play. I think that might come with some pain, because no new manager comes to the league and walks the league first season, unless you're Slot right now, who's enjoying, but there will be some pain at some point. I do think those fixtures that Afo mentioned are fixtures you should be getting at least 2 wins from. If you can get 2 wins from those first 3 and then go into the Arsenal game, whatever happens against Arsenal, if you come Emirates, you get run out, that's fine. That happens most seasons anyway. But then you got Forest at home. You got Forest at home after Arsenal, and that's where you could, bounce back again and be like, okay, cool. These are fixtures we should win. And then obviously you got City, Spurs in the Carabao Cup, and then you got Bournemouth at home again. So there are games here where you look at them and be like, United should be getting some wins and showing some style of football. So there's an opportunity here. There's a window of opportunity for, I think, Ruben Amorim to have a good start at United.
Yep.
There's a window of opportunity. I think if he doesn't take it, I think he probably might start to apply a little bit more pressure on him than needed. But no one's going to be like, oh, what's he doing? At the end of the day, he just needs to show something to be like, okay, United fans can hang the hat on this and be like, okay, we lost here, we shouldn't have lost there. Fine, but we're seeing some sort of identity. Yeah, vision. You want to see, okay, I can picture what he's doing.
Adam,
you're spot on. Sorry, Afo, I was going to say he's spot on. Giving yourself a good start just alleviates the pressure off him a little bit. if you mess up and you win 1 out of the 5 or 0 out of the 5, you're just piling on unnecessary pressure for the start. That's it.
I wish you nothing. I wish you nothing but the worst.
I know you do.
I wish you nothing but the worst.
I'm a different type of rock star. I got class and I got Henny overflowing up my shot glass. And yeah, I know I'm not a keeper, but can you be my mama seater by the time I'm done with